you are doing a disservice to your characters. Now, that's okay because there's second and third drafts for a reason. We're all going to make it, brother. Howdy, y'all. My name's Scott. I'm the author of Rivet Stone and maybe just some author, but let me tell you, there's a principle I want to talk about. A theme, if you will, that oftentimes will happen whenever, you're writing your first draft, or this can even show up at the end of your manuscript and you're just like, oh no, this is bad. And what is that? You're letting your characters cosplay. Now, what do you, what, I mean, is there a reason that they can't be their favorite, like, JoJo's character? Is there some objective? Like, no, okay, I don't. You're off the topic, all right? But you just said cosplay. Like, yeah, that's not working here, all right? If you have a character, right, and their backstory is that they're fishermen, or their backstory is that they're in the military, right? That matters. Whatever your character's backstory is, their history, their historical context matters. Why? I don't know. Why? Because that's what drives their dialogue. That's what drives their thinking. If you have a character who was a thief, maybe they grew up on the streets, they were a street merchant, right? That is rough and tumble and fend for themselves the whole time. Like, obviously, that's going to drive everything about that character. Like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, if they are, say, for example, that's your main protagonist, and they see another character out in the distance, what are the first thing that a thief is going to see? Well, they're going to notice, hey, this guy doesn't have a weapon, or hey, that guy is holding the battle stance, or like, oh, I can see the look in his eye. I've seen that look a million times over. This guy's trying to stab me. Okay, well, what do you mean by that? Well, if instead, potentially, that their backstory was a priest, right? Well, what are they going to say? I don't know, they're going to throw holy water on him? Like, no, well, probably they're going to be like, oh, this poor soul, like, oh, yes, I've seen many of the people of these type come into the chapel. Oh, there's these poor weary souls. Don't worry, I will be, they're going to be more positive about it. Okay, well, what else? Well, then, obviously, whatever historical context that they have, such as their education, is going to drive literally the words that they're saying, aka dialogue, but, like, actually the words, right? Everyone knows, and listen, please don't make me bust out the accents again. If I get some guy from Louisiana, United States, down in the bayou, do you think the words that they're going to describe just about anything is going to match some yippy dippy I pull from New York City, New York? Maybe, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Well, no. They're going to talk completely different. And what's important is that if you're establishing these backgrounds and these backstories for characters, you need to make sure that that is in mind with everything. Right? It's driving the words that they're saying. They're driving the things that they find important. It's going to align with their morals. It's going to align with their secret agendas. You can't just throw a coat of paint, right, on a character and let them cosplay something, a cool paladin because you think it's cool. Like, but I mean, paladins are cool. But it's like, no, like, if they're going to act a specific way due to a specific backstory, if it's counteractive to what we would expect, all right, I mean, at least, like, note that. Like, is it like very intentional? Are you intentionally creating a priest who's like a real, I'm trying to say something without like swearing. Just he's a bad guy, like, but not in like the normal. We're just gonna move on. If he's a fisherman, but there's a reason that he's like hyper educated, like, that's not gonna point any red flags. And if some guy off the street is just talking about pontificating about metaphysics, like, yeah, that's probably going to turn some heads, especially if they're, got nothing but their overalls on and they've been in the bayou for 25 years. That's probably going to turn some heads, right? And listen, I don't mean to make such a point about it or to berate. It's something that happens to me all the time. And frankly, it happens especially in your first drafts as we're just desperately trying to get words on paper, just trying to get whatever story we're managing to conjure up in our head, despite whatever planning we have and maps that we built and bullet point lists. It's a struggle, man. Like, the struggle. Yeah, I don't. Do we even need to talk about the struggle? You know what I'm saying? It's something that we all face, but be very critical about being very intentional about all aspects of your character and how it aligns with who they are as a person. It's fun to go on the weekend and cosplay as your favorite superhero or anime character or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're going to write a good story, it needs to be about the actual people, not about who they're dressed up as. But anyway, hopefully that helps. Give it a like, give it a sub, and thanks for watching.